In the previous video, we have seen how we create our client self. Now, once the client self is created, we need to have a detailed information about that client self before we start communicating with the client and finalizing my product. In this video, we'll be talking about what to include in my client self for my communication purpose and collecting the information about the client. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Akshita Bahuguna, and as an entrepreneur, I have been educating entrepreneurs on different aspects of skill development and business creation. In the business creation part, we have discussed the client self in the previous video. Now, how to make sense of that client self is something that we'll be studying and we'll be understanding in this video. There are a few things that we need to know when we have this client self. Once we have identified the client self, the first thing should be, what are the goals of that client? Now, these goals means what they want to achieve out of my product. Now, understanding these goals is a very insightful information again that you need to understand. I'll give you an example of Henry Ford. Henry Ford was the person who made the first vehicle or the car. At that time, people used to ride horse for their traveling long distances. Now, while traveling long distances on horse, when they were asked, what do you want? The client was asked, what do you want? The client said, we want a faster horse. Now, it is for the Henry Ford to understand that they want a faster horse because they want to cover the distance in less time. That is, they want to speed up their travel. And for speeding up the travel, horse is not the only medium. It can be automated. It can be a non-living thing, a car which can speed up their travel. And that is how the car was made. So, understanding the goals of your customer is very important while you are trying to serve that customer. Secondly, what are the values of the customer? Values are the foundation of likes and dislikes. Now, these foundations of likes and dislikes, what you do, what are the decisions you take, they are something that motivates the customer or the client to buy your product. So you need to understand those values and see that this is the most important value that your client has, or what sort of value your product is satisfying for this client. These two things is goals and values. Next, the third thing that you need to know about your client is the place where you can meet them. That is, where do they hang about, or where do they visit, what do they read, where can you catch hold of them. This is something that you need to know for understanding what your client needs. Because when you know where he or she is hanging about, only there you can go and give the product to. You need to understand what they read, what sort of social media they visit, because every age group has a different social media. And if you can pinpoint those, you can have a focused view of doing the things and you can succeed. This is a thing that we as an entrepreneur need to know the most. I'll give you an example for this as well. If you have seen that McDonald's advertisement, now once you are moving on a highway, after doing many calculations, the McDonald's came to know that if the person or the car is moving at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour, it will have to travel 2 kilometers before it takes the turn. And that is why the banners, the boards of the McDonald's, size also matters, 60 by 40. The size of the banner is arranged 2 kilometers before the outlet. And again, the 10 kilometers before the outlet, they start putting small banners, McDonald's ahead, McDonald's ahead. And this is how the place from where the people are coming, they are able to capture them and call them to their focal point. Very important. The same way you need to do. The fourth thing that you need to understand is what are the pain points of your customer. Pain points that hurts them, something which is problematic that needs to be catered. Now, if you are seeing the pain points, I'll again give you an example. How that soft knife was made. The person who innovated that, his wife was suffering from arthritis, and while cutting the vegetable, it used to pain her because it was hard. To solve her problem, he just used a fluffy handle on the knife. It worked for her, and then it was generalized for all. You can also think about something like this. Pain point. How you solve the pain point, and if you are solving the pain point of your client self, it can be generalized for all the people in your customer segment. Fifth point that you need to know is the gain point that your customer has. Gain point is the benefit that the customer would achieve after he or she has bought your product. You need to underline those gain points. What are those? Are they matching the values? You need to see all these gain points. Once you know the gain points of your customer, the next thing is what objections or limitations your client can have in using the product that you have made. Now, these objections can be something related to values or something related to value. So you need to understand what objections he or she can have for your product. The example can be, we all have heard in the history books about the Mangal Pandey. Even in the movie Mangal Pandey we have seen. Then the cartridge that was assumed to be made up of cow lard or pig lard was something that caused the revolt because the people were not ready to use it and open it with their mouth. That makes a difference. That is how you need to see whether your product is creating some objections. What are the objections that the client can have? So you need to understand and remove those objections. You need to know the roles that your product play in your client's life. So that is the seventh thing that you need to know the role. Because these roles would be like whether it is something that is a need for the person or it is a want of the person. Whether this is something that the person needs as a basic need for living or something they want it for living. So if you are able to understand these, you will be able to price it accordingly and you'll be able to work in a more cohesive manner with your client. Again, you already have a client self for whom you can understand the needs too. And remember that nothing goes on paper. You have to go to the clients, you have to talk to your clients. Nothing in business can be achieved if you stay within your comfort zone of your homes. You have to move out, you have to do survey, you have to meet the real clients and know all of the above things about your clients. Once you know your client self perfectly, you can make your product according to that and you can move ahead with it. Hope the client self would help you to understand your client and make your product the best fit for your client. And once you're able to do that, you'll be able to achieve the happiness that I talk about. And that is why I say, be happy, be entrepreneurial, and live the life of abundance. And if you want to pursue your journey of Unbox Entrepreneurship, keep liking, subscribing, and following us. And don't forget to share it with your friends, families, and friends. Thank you.